Welcome, everybody, on this gorgeous Sunday. I'll tell you, we've been waiting for beautiful weather, and guess what? It has arrived. I'm thinking that Bojangles is not only breathing life into horse racing right now, I think he's breathing life into the weather as well, because since he's come back up to Ontario, we've had a lot nicer weather. So thank you for everything that you're doing right now, Bojangles, and for everybody here tonight, sit back and enjoy yourself there. Beautiful night of racing here. We'll probably have a couple of crowd shots at some time because of the fireworks. That tarmac is going to fill up big time. Going to be a lot of people here tonight, and that's what makes harness racing great, horse racing great, big crowds and, excitement and all that. And again, going back to what happened last night, just another little kickoff. And if you are on track or you plan on coming, trust me, it will be worth your while. There's a lot of fantastic there's a crowd check out there right now. People are just starting to fill in now, but you can tell out in front the parking lot is really, really getting filled up. So, probably a few people just kind of getting their seats and then maybe trying to grab some food and get to the action. But if you've never seen the fireworks display that they put on here, Woodbine puts on, it's amazing. You're not going to go anywhere, including Canada's Wonderland or Walt Disney World, and see a better fireworks display than what is put on here. They go all out for this display. So, if you're on track, or if you're thinking, should I make the drive in? It's beautiful weather, and the fireworks are going to be fantastic, and so's the racing as well. So, let's get on to doing a little talking. Now, first, I'm going to have to give a big shout out to one of our, co-handicappers, I guess that you would call them, in-house handicappers, and that's the king of the pick four around here, Mr. Ghislain Paquette. Last night went 10 for 12 in the win department. Only missed on 2 races last night, so that is a huge night for Ghislain Paquette. But it's not the first time. I think that he almost swept once. If I'm not mistaken, he might have went 10 for 11, and now this time it's going to be 10 for 12. So still, that's a big, big night for him. So, anytime you see anything of Ghislain's pop up on the screen, you might want to take another second look at that one. And great night, Ghislain. Well done. The king of the pick fours here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. So let's take a look at the recap from last night. Again, just unbelievable racing last night. You just got to pinch yourselves, watching the racing that went on here last night. So James McDonald, he decided to go out and, have a big night, for a change. He had 4 wins, big grand slam for J-Mac last night. Johnny Angel for Gallucci, Blue Jean Gal for Julie Walker, Strobe Light for Ben Bergeron, and Brew Hanover for Dave Maneri. So basically, James won with 4 horses, all with 4 different trainers. Dave Maneri had 3 nice wins last night: Scorpion, Sealster, Brew Hanover, and Backup Plan. The SBOA last night. Now, this is where I'm going to start to get into the meat and potatoes of last night. So the 3-year-old filly trot went to Blue Jean Gal with James McDonald and Julie Walker. This girl here was doing all of her racing, I guess, last year, you could say, in the grassroots. You got to give a huge shout out to Bert Renault. Julie's better half, because he's the one that more or less got this girl going. I don't think that she was an easy go at the start. I think she was a little difficult to drive, but he's such a patient guy, and he's so light-handed that he, got this one going. Now she comes out as a 3-year-old, and James McDonald gets the tap on the shoulder. Hey, James, any chance you might want to drive Blue Jean Gal? Absolutely. So Blue Jean Gal, big shout out to Bert Renault, big shout out to Julie Walker, big shout out to James McDonald, and a huge shout out to all of Len Gamble's family. This was owned by the estate of Len Gamble. We've recently lost Len, and wow, what a great, great guy he was, and he's going to be sorely missed in our industry. So again, there is Blue Jean Gal, just laying it down. Okay, next one that we're going to go to is going to be a Clean Deal. And again, just a champion last year. She was our super final champion, was the horse to beat last year, came back this year, win her elimination, was a winner there. And then she came out last night, and, PNG Shadow that's on her back right now, she to me was the one that they really had to look out for because she's got big speed on the end of it. And what a trip Louis gives her. Sits right on Dougie's back, doesn't move her till halfway down the lane. We're almost to the tote board before he starts to come. And it looks like she's going to put a rush on, but I think that they could have went around another 4 times, and the Clean Deal was not going to let her get by. Champion mares, whether it's Clean Deal, whether we watch So Much More race, or some of those other great mares out there too, they just refuse to let that last horse up alongside of them. Whether it's measured by a nose, a neck, a head, it seems like the great ones are able to get to the wire first. Like I said, Louis, this was a great trip by Louis, and he gives her every opportunity to get the job done. And, I just don't think Dougie was all that pressured. I think he knows that this one's going to, when he calls on her, she's going to respond. So big effort for a Clean Deal. Congratulations to McNair and Kyle Fellows on him and all the owners of a Clean Deal. Now let's move on to a Strobe Light. This one's going to be James McDonald for Ben Bergeron. Now this guy was beaten in his elimination, ran into a little bit of road traffic, and ended up finishing second in there to the horse that's on the outside of him right now, Touched by an Angel. But Touched by an Angel, came first over early last night and just had no answers for this guy. Now interesting is the horse in the 2-hole with Billy Davis. That's Dream for Peace, the Stacy horse there. And he looked like he was live in there, but Strobe Light, I think he was well in hand. Looks like James, really didn't have to do a whole lot of asking there. This was our best 2-year-old last year, and it looks like he's going to be well on his way of turning into be a pretty good horse himself this year. Maybe the best one, but that 6 horse, we might want to have to take another look at him there. He's kind of filled out pretty good this year too. So that was Strobe Light. Well, there was one other one. Not really sure if we need to talk about him, but let's do it anyway. I always get a kick out of this. So here's Bojangles. I mean, last week a couple of people said to me, who do you think's got the best opportunity to beat him? And I just would look at them as are we on the same page here? Because, I mean, even this is a nice, deep group of 3-year-olds in behind him. But he doesn't belong, and they don't, in my opinion, belong with him. This is going to be a great race when he's out of it because they're all evenly matched, nice group. But this guy's bringing things that we just don't see on a regular yearly-to-year basis. I mean, everything about him. Like last year, Chad, one of Chad's calls, he said, "Bojangles, do you ever get tired?" Well, we're still waiting. There's been qualifiers and there's been races and there was races after that. When's he going to get tired? We still don't see it. So just an amazing display last night. And I really do hope that listen to that crowd too. Oh, giving me chills. I really do hope that we all get behind this horse. Really, we need to do this. We don't. It's sometimes with horse racing and harness racing, I'm more into that obviously, but sometimes it takes like almost something bad for us all to get together. Why is it that? Why is it that something bad has to happen for us all to come together, band together, and work for the betterment of that person, or, whether it be a barn fire or somebody's health or anything like that? We have to do the same thing with this horse. We have to push this horse big time because, a horse like him could really save us, save our industry, make our industry strong. I mean, he can do so much for us. Just exactly what we saw with, this is a big comparison, but when we saw Gretzky go to the States, it wasn't just the fact that he went to the States. It was the fact that the media circus in LA jumped all over him and he turned hockey on to the world. Before, in my opinion, it was more North America, especially Canada, but he changed things. And I think that we can see the same thing with this guy because we've seen that with Some Beach Somewhere. We've seen him change the sport. We've seen him make the sport strong. And I think that we can see the same thing here. So rah, Bojangles, and keep the momentum going. Okay, now let's talk about the open pace last night. Brew Hanover sliding back into the winner's circle. Not a huge surprise, but he had missed some time, had the rail to deal with, but really looked good down there last night. And the Jackpot High Five carryover, we're looking at almost 26,000. That's going to seed that race number 10 Jackpot High Five carryover. Okay, so let's get into the handicapping. Let's go. So race number 1, and speaking of handicap, we're going to do a claiming handicap, 12 to 16,000. And this is going to be a beat the favorite of mine in here, and we're also going to have a replay to show of one in here. So I'm going to go with the 5-horse Ulysses. This is where I'm going to go. Last week he came up here. He was bet down to 8. He was, about 8 to 1, and I think that his race really was better than what we expected, and I think it's better than what the line shows. And the reason why is because when he came up here last week, and we can show that replay if you want, producer Jason, when he came up here last week, his last race was at Pocono on April the 14th. And then he shows up here on May the 10th. So technically, this guy more or less missed a month of racing. And there was probably a ship involved too. So I'm not going to say that he was going to be at his very best last week for Tyler and Kyle Fellows. But right now, he's sitting third, and he's keeping up very, very well. You can see Tyler, to me, more or less looking for room. Now he gives him a little bit of a top tap there, but again, he just seems to be. If you don't have any horse, why are you trying to get him to the outside? And then here he is. He stays right with him. So now here he starts to move forward soon as the other horse gets up alongside of him. So that was a first start here, first start for Fellows in a long time, and first start in a month. Now we get Tyler Borth right back on him again tonight. He picks up the 5-hole. I think he can get it out of there again tonight and maybe even control things. A lot of people are going to be going to Better Be Going in here tonight, and I got him in for third. But the only thing that scares me a little bit about Better Be Going is I thought the last race he showed maybe he was just a little bit tired. Now he's missed a week there. Maybe that was why Paul Court gave him a week off. Picks up a different driver tonight and with Travis Cullen with Better Be Going. So I think that he's going to take a lot of play. I got him in for third. Bayfield Beach going to be first start Corey Giles. A lot of people will be looking at that. McClure won't be going with Bayfield Beach tonight. I'm pretty sure he's over at Flamborough. Trevor Henry will be going with Bayfield Beach tonight. And if you're looking for a catch drive, you can't do any better than that. No doubt about that. So Trevor Henry driving Bayfield Beach, and Bayfield Beach getting some equipment changes sent in tonight. First start for his new trainer, Corey Giles. He's going to go from aluminum to steel in behind, and he's going to go from blinkers to a blind bridle. So a few changes coming in on Bayfield Beach. I got him in for second. Again, Forefather in for fourth. Better Be Going in for third. But Ulysses, I think that Ulysses, can come up with a really nice effort in here. I go back to, the 3-year-old mark, which was only a couple of years ago, year and a half, let's say, and a 3-year-old mark of 50 up here on our track. I think it was. No, I think it was on a 5/8 mile. But regardless, back in the Fellows camp, Fellows Barnes racing really, really good. And I think that this guy was liver last night than what the race should have been. I think he's going to come in tonight to be pretty good. So I'm going to start this off with Ulysses in race number 1. Race number 2 is another claiming handicap. All right, lots of claimers tonight. Claiming handicap in here, 18 to 24. Now, in this race, a lot of people will probably be going, maybe Belmont Blazer. Looks like right now on your morning line, the 7-horse, Wanna Be a Big Star, is your favorite 2-to-1 morning line. And that's actually the way that I'm going to go in here. I think that this is a nice drop down for this horse. You can see last year, they were racing him in the 30s and 40s. Then they brought him back. They've raced him in the conditions. Maybe the non-winners of 6,000 has just been a little bit too rugged for him, because when he dropped into the non-winners of 2,500, he had a real good second in there against a pretty good horse named Tyga Hanover. So do I think that he can make a big impact dropping into this 18 to 24? Yes, I do. So Wanna Be a Big Star is the way that I'm going to go. Also, Garnett's going to go his way as well. Kevin and Gislan are both going to go Phone 911, who I have in for third. Belmont Blazer, I'm putting him in for second. And Stick Me In, Let Him Go. I'm going to throw this guy in on the bottom of my ticket. Now, I might be going a little bit light on this one because This guy raced incredibly well. He's been into Mars's barn for a while, but last week he raced really, really good here. I'm thinking that maybe when he went over to Flamborough, doing the racing at Flamborough, he was racing okay. Maybe he's one of those horses that just likes the big track. Either way, this guy was really live down on the inside last week, only beating the nose too, and it came right down to Aquinas Hanover and this guy. I was playing Aquinas Hanover, so this was no freebie. So this guy raced pretty good. So my numbers in race number 2, 7, 4, 3, and 6. Now, let's move on to race number 3, and that's going to be the kickoff of the early pick 4. And you know who's the king of the pick 4s? The guy that was 10 for 12 last night, Ghislain Paquette. Another crowd shot. It's starting to fill up. This is great. So in race number 3, I went a little bit, this is going to be my worth a look pick. Now, in my opinion, I went with the best horse in the race. But unfortunately, she's maybe not bringing in the very best date for the race. So where I'm going to go is the 5-horse Cadiddle. Hasn't raced since April the 19th. And what's interesting with that is she raced April the 5th. Back then, she was more or less on a 7-day rotation. And then she misses 2 weeks, races on the 19th, doesn't do a whole lot there, and then has missed some time there. I'm not sure. I would guess maybe, you know, she did a lot of racing in the winter. Maybe Jerry just wanted to give her a little bit of a break and give her a few weeks off, freshen her up when the weather got a little bit better. So Cadiddle is the way that I'm going to go in here. Bella Cavallo racing really good for fellows. She had the 10-hole last week. Unfortunately, she's going to come to the 9-hole this week, but she takes a drop down. Last 2 starts ago, she won the non-winners of 2,500. Now tonight it says non-winners of 3,100, but more or less the same class. So she's going to be back good in here, but she won that race out of the 5-hole. Has to work from the 9-hole tonight. Mr. Magic raced fantastic last week. Wow. I mean, down to the half and 55. You know, JD didn't really have any choice in that situation. He had a horse make an early move on him, and it was either stick him out there or let him go, and JD made the right call. He stuck him, and you know, this horse ended up coming another win. I've said it all along, I really do think that JD knows his horse better than anyone, and he really gets a lot out of him. So Mr. Magic racing good, going to throw him in for 3rd. And Jamon, a lot of people will be looking at Jamon in here. Definitely a better effort last week, got to the front, finished 2nd in there, and only beat ahead by Daffy Hanover. But here's where I'm going to be the glass is half empty, is the fact that, in my opinion, I think he should have took that race down. So he was better, yes, but is he better enough that he wants to win races right now? I say no. So I'm going to throw him in for 4th, but definitely could be wrong in there. And let's move on to race number 4. This is going to be my all-in pick of the night, and this is also going to be this kickoff leg of your pick 6 if you're looking to play some multis tonight. I myself, I got a single in this race. I think I singled him in both. I singled him in my early pick 5, and he's definitely going to be a single in my pick 6 as well, and that is the 8-horse Glory View Image for Jamie Copley and Trevor Henry. This guy was testing the waters in the conditions, that 12 to 16 class. You know, he was in for 12 one week, he's in for 14 the next week, and then last week they dumped him right back down into an 8,000 claimer. I mean, this horse just hoovered to the front, and there was no touching him. He was so much the best in 52 flat Glory View Image. So now he's going to come right back to the same class again. I think he's a single. That's the way I look at him anyway. So really like Glory View Image in here tonight. Now, Trouble with the Curve. This one's an interesting one for Guy Gagnon. Had the 9-hole, missed a week, but had the 9-hole, left out of there big time. Now, he's got the inside of Glory View Image, so I got a feeling he's going to be coming out of there with him. Sat in the 2-hole and got the best of Seafair, and Seafair was a big favorite that day. This guy definitely outpaced his odds because he was 50 to 1 that day. Now, Guy comes right back in the same class, has a better post position to work with, but maybe the date isn't as good. So I'm going to put Trouble with the Curve in for 2nd. The 5-horse Early Play, Team Cullen, going to use this guy in for 3rd. And the 4-horse Smokestack coming out of the Brett Lester camp with J.R. Plant. I'm going to throw this guy in for 4th, because I do think that he raced good as well. So let's take a look at Glory View Image, and you tell me if this is a horse that can come right back to the same class and be just as dominant as he was last week. So here is Glory View Image and TH to the front with him. So again, we got a decent kind of a horse, I think, sitting on his back. I think that this might even be Seafair that's on his back here, but it's not going to matter. I mean, look at this horse up front. Trevor, gives him a bit of a wake-up call. This is a rockin' image out of a Better's Delight mare, so I got a feeling he's got a double dose of lazy in there somewhere. Rockin' images, they do have a tendency to, make you ask him a little bit more out there, but I mean, every time he asks, he's huge, and I mean, look at the separation on the end of it. So Glory View Image is going to be a single for me. He's also going to be my all-in bet tonight, best bet of the night for me. Garnet's going to be using Glory View Image, Clevin Glory View Image, Gisland Glory View Image, and I got a feeling a lot of people out there are going to be using Glory View Image as well. So really looking good in there. So let's move on to race 5, and again we have another claiming handicap. This is a 30 to 40. Again, some horses here that maybe lost a little bit of form. A horse like JJ Xavier, I mean, this horse was absolutely smoking this 40,000 claimer class. Then he moved up and tested the waters in the optional 50, and it just seemed like it kind of did him in a little bit, because since he's come back down to the 40, he just doesn't seem to have quite the same pizzazz as what he had going out of there. Did have the 9-hole to work with last week, a little bit better position in here tonight with the 7-hole, so maybe that'll help things along a little bit there. But I'm going to put him in for third. Again, a horse that, maybe got his feelings hurt a little bit up into that optional 50, and so far just haven't really seen that raciness back out of him that he was showing before he went there. So JJ Xavier, I'm going to throw him in for third. Code Cracker, who was a winner in here in his last start, and I had him down as the best. We're not going to show you the replay of him. I got him in for second, but again, you can tell by the line, he win by 2, win in 51. I just think he looked much the best in here last week. Now, where I'm going to go with my top pick is a horse that didn't race against these horses last week. So let's take a look at the replay for the 8-horse in this race for Jonathan Drury and Carmasiello. This is Waterloo. And last week on the May the 9th, he tried up into that non-winners of 11,000, and I mean, look at that bunch. Major Perry, Soaring Now, Chain Gang. I mean, he just couldn't go with them. But the week before, when he raced in this class, this was a good effort. So now that he's going to come back to this class, same connections, I'm going to take a shot with this guy. So here comes JD with Waterloo on the outside. He's not going to be able to get to Sometime Somewhere, who's going to get a really, really sweet trip right up the inside. But this guy keeps coming forward, and, now he comes back to this class. So I'm going to take a chance with Waterloo. Maybe hook a little bit of hook a little bit of a price on him. Lone wolfing it with this guy. So Waterloo's going to be my pick. Garnet's going to go Sometime Somewhere, him and Gisland, and Kevin's going to go Ponder No Longer. So my numbers in race number 8 are going to be 8, 4, 7, and 9. Waterloo going to be my top pick in there. So let's move on to race number 6, which is going to be the kickoff of the late pick 5. This is non-winners of 3,100, last 4 starts. So my top pick in here is going to be the 3-horse PL Sapphire for Katie Huskinson and Tyler Jones. If you go 2 starts down, the last time that PL Sapphire raced in this class, she was a winner that day at odds of 50 to 1, where she beat Chick Chalk Rose and JG's Pal. Now, she is going to have to face JG's Pal again, but she's not going to see Chick Chalk Rose in here again tonight. So I thought that last week, even though she finished 5th in there, up in the non-winners of 6,000, I thought that Tyler gave her a really, really good trip in that race. So I think she's going to come out of that race and be very sharp in this race with the drop back down again. In for second, I got JG's Pal. Sometimes with him, it's hard for me to tie him down. I've got him the odd time, but a lot of times there, I'll play him, and he just doesn't seem like he comes up with that effort that you're looking for. And then when I don't play him, he just goes out with a huge, huge effort. So throwing him in here for second tonight. Tyler Borth picking this guy up. I don't remember if Tyler's drove this guy before or not. Might be a new one for him. Jayport Cash, going to throw him in on the bottom. Always has good wheels on the end of it for Daryl Thiessen and Josh McKibben. And Castell Lindy, going to throw this one also right on the in for fourth, right on the bottom, coming out of the fellow stable. But where I kind of like this one, recently come off that one qualifier, but the last two starts had a 9 and a 10 to work with. And I think that he's in a much better spot in here tonight in the non-winners of 3,100, but with the 7-hole to work with. So maybe Castell Lindy can come up with the nice effort here for the Pup ×4 stable. Okay, so race number 7. And now this one's going to be interesting too. I got a replay to show you on this one, and you're going to kind of have to bear with me on what I'm going to show you. So let's start on the bottom of my ticket. One Bell, I'm going to throw in on the bottom. Now, obviously she brings a lot. 4 wins last year as a 2-year-old out of 7 starts. $68,000 put away for Matt Bax. James qualified this one. It was a good qualifier in against Annabelle Duhara, who she's going to have to race in against here tonight. But James is over at Flamborough, so Matt's going to drive this one himself. I mean, Matt's more than capable of getting the job done, but I also know with the one qualifier, he's really going to probably try to do it as simple as can be. So I'm going to throw him down in for fourth. In for third is going to be Florida Guy. Now, every sign of Florida Guys last week pointed to him winning that race, but unfortunately I had him in for fourth. And I knew better. And I said before they went to the gate, you better look out for him because the odds were huge on this guy. And he looked fantastic out on the track. I'm going to throw him in for third. He could easily come back and double up in this class again. But I'm going to throw him in for third because I think the class has gotten a little bit tougher than what it was last week, even though he's coming back to that same class. So in for second is going to be Annabelle Duhara. 2 real nice qualifiers for this Kyle Fellows trainee. You can see what this one did last year. 10 starts, 3 times a winner, 6 times on the board to the tune of $61,000. Both qualifiers are winning ones. Both qualifiers with sub 29-second quarters on the end of it. The last one being in 57 flat. So Annabelle Duhara looking good in here. Going to throw him in for second. Now here's going to be my top pick. And that's going to be for Sean Stacy and Travis Cullen from the outside, the 9-horse Green Arrow Hanover. We're going to show a replay of this horse. Now, the replay that we're going to show is April the 27th here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And in my opinion, this horse was the best until he makes this unfortunate break. He goes down to the Meadows, comes up with a real nice second down there in the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes, going for $67,000 for Dave Pallone, the timeless Dave Pallone. But let's take a look at this guy. Now, you guys tell me out there if you think that this was a live horse, because to me, he's doing everything the way that he's supposed to be doing it. He left out of there. He's keeping up. But the only thing is they're starting to bunch up a little bit. And I honestly think that that's what happens when he makes this break. I think that he maybe gets a little bit doubled up and had more trot than what maybe Billy thought he would have at that point, and he ends up jumping it. Whatever it was, it's not a lameness thing. I mean, we've been watching him for a half a mile, and this horse looks good. No, it's not a double up. He moves him here. He looks like he's going to make a big effort. And then as soon as he gets up alongside of this horse, he looks like he's trotting good here. And then, boom, there he goes. He makes the break. Now, that's Ungawa, I'm pretty sure, out in front right now. Yeah, Ungawa. So, maybe he wasn't going to beat him anywhere. But boy, oh boy, it sure looked like he was going to give him all he wanted to me. It looked like he was a live horse, So I'm going to go with Green Arrow Hanover. Like I said, went down to the Meadows after this start that we showed you. Had a nice effort down there. Trotted in 54-3 over the Meadows. He was in the 2-hole at the half and 56 flat on a 5/8 mile. This guy's got wheels. So, they don't really have to be careful with him because he's got his clean line. He's got a bad post position, but I think that all horses, when you're racing in stake company, you should always try to get as many confidence-building wins as you can because they learn to get beat. And that's one thing that, you don't want to have happen with your horse there. You don't want him to get into the habit of, oh, I'm just going to go out there and I can't beat these horses or whatever. You don't want that. So anytime that the win is within your grasp, take it. And I think that this guy could come out of there again tonight and maybe come up with a big effort in there. So let's, by the way, we have an interview with Matt Bax regarding One Bell, and courtesy of John Rollis reaching out to Matt Bax. So let's have a listen to Matt Bax give us what his thoughts are on the 3-horse in race number 7, One Bell.
Here getting a chance to speak with trainer Matt Bax, who's got himself a pretty busy weekend of racing coming up. Matt, we're going to start off with One Bell, a filly who showed lots of promise last year as a rookie. I know a couple of efforts that maybe weren't to the best of her ability towards the end of her campaign, but this is a filly you've always been really, really high on, and she's coming off one qualifying effort. Before we kind of ask what you thought of that effort, what took place towards some of those efforts last year with the starter of Walner?
Well, she started off real strong the first 4 starts, and she's a little hard on herself. Maybe a little picky eater, lost a little bit of weight. And she doesn't race herself very easy. She's very competitive, wants to win. We had a few issues later on in the year, and you know what happens if you're not right near the end of the year, then. If you're not on the top of your game when you're racing in the Breeders' Crown or in the Grand Circuit, then you'll be left by the wayside.
Just the one qualifier, a second place effort. She's going to be coming into her 3-year-old, making her sophomore debut here off that one prep. You're going to get a chance to sit behind her. Do you think she's going to be tight enough to put forth a pretty good effort at first asking?
Yeah, definitely. She's trained other fast miles as well. James did a great job in the qualifier, kept her on a helmet, and she shot off that right at the end. He kind of came at the last minute, but she's definitely going to be tight enough. She's fit. We hope to just kind of keep her mentally on the track because she's got a long stake schedule ahead of her.
Well, thank you very much, Matt Bax and John Rollis. Always nice to hear what the trainer's thoughts are, regarding a horse, especially one as important as her coming back. I more or less gathered from it that she'd had a couple of fast miles under her belt. She wants to win races, but he, again, I don't think that he's going to try to overdo it in here tonight. But, again, that maybe the talent is will be what takes over. So let's move on to race number 8. In here, no replays to show you, but I do think I'm going to have a live horse in here for you, and that would be the 1-horse. Why wouldn't you? I think Dave Brown is just rubbing his hands together in glee with this one. Has the rail to work with. Not necessarily the best spot for him, but a lot better than in his last 4 starts. He's had 3 10-holes. So he finally, in his last 2 10-hole each time, so he gets away from the 10 holes, drops down in class, picks up the rail, and going to pick up Daryl Thiessen as well. So I think Daryl's going to be a real nice fit for this one. So best of luck, Dave Brown, with Why Wouldn't You? In for second will be How You Play the Game with The Answer and David Snowden. In for third, I have Southwind Sambuca for the Victor Putty stable. And in on the bottom of my ticket is He's Touring. This one going to be for Carmasiello and Jonathan Drury. I think this might be Jonathan's first time driving this guy, so kind of interested on that, and threw him down in on the bottom. So that is how I see race number 8. And then Why Wouldn't You? Definitely a big sweep there as well from the rail. We all like him pretty well. We're using all the same horses in this race too. Kevin threw Monty's Gone Marble down on the bottom. Gislan used Gypsy Joe. Garnett's going to be using Gypsy Joe, and I'm going to use He's Touring. So we're kind of lone wolfing it on 4th picks, but everything else, it seems like we're pretty well logical in there. So let's move on to race number 9, and here we're going to have trotters, non-winners of $62.50, last 4 starts for a purse of $16,000. Now, I think that my friend Jose really stands out in this field. I know he's missed a little bit of a date, but this is such a huge opportunity for him. Racing in the non-winners of 12,000 and racing so good that he wins 2 in a row, and then finds himself up in open company. Races good both times there. Now drops back down into the non-winners of 12,000. Again, races good. Now I am going to play against him. I think that he should be really the logical one in here, but I'm not as big a fan of the rail with certain horses. Not really sure how he's going to like the rail situation if there's a lot of levers. So instead of playing my friend Jose, I got looking at another horse that's taken a huge drop down and was doing amazing things when he was shut down last year. And that's going to be the 3-horse. Ooh, crowd check. Ooh, loving it out there. So the 3-horse Manoa. Let's take a look at him. Look at the drop down this guy's taken. So his bottom line is when he wins this class, non-winners of 12,000. But look at who he beat. Devil's Arch and Ghostly Casper. Ooh. Then heads right into the open, back down into the non-winners of 12,000. Does a chop there, doesn't do a whole lot, but that's when trainer Mark Etzel decides to shut him down. So, maybe there was a little bit of sickness. Maybe he just decided, you've done enough as to start your season off. Let's, rest you up and bring you back. So he qualifies good in against PL Spencer, who we're going to be seeing racing in the Open Monday night. And 2 starts in May. First one in the non-winners of 12,000. But here's where it gets interesting. So he races in the non-winners of 12,000, doesn't do any good, and now has to go up. He has to go up into the non-winners of 20,000. And here he's facing, again, Devil's Arch, Penteller Hanover, and Mastercraft. Now this time, he only gets beat 3 lengths. Now he drops from non-winners of 20,000 into non-winners of 6,000 after only getting beat 3 lengths in his last. Now he's had a qualifier and 2 fast starts under his mile. I got to pull the trigger on Manoa. Even though he's in with some really nice horses, I think he's a pretty nice horse himself. So Manoa's the way that I'm going to go. On to my friend Jose, on to All Gas No Brakes, on to Willow Time, let's go to race number 10. And in race number 10, this is the jackpot high five race, over $25,000 in carryover money going to be used to seed this race in here tonight. I think that we're looking at a big time double up for PL Aussie. He was the easiest of winners last week down into the non-winners of 1,000. Went off big time chalk, bet down to $1, and now he's going to take a slight step up, but we're talking PL Aussie. He's got the work done. 2 qualifiers, the race in front, mind you, in front last week. That takes a little bit more energy, a little bit more fitness to do that. So that, to me, means to show that he can take the step up and still be playable in here tonight. So PL Aussie is the way that I'm going to go. Storm Shadow, interesting. Tyler Moore taking over the training of Storm Shadow in here tonight. Drinking Buddy, going to throw him in for 3rd for Heather Pickett. In for 4th will be Blue Bar, and on the bottom will be Bold Spirit for Jody Cullen and Scotty Young in there. So my numbers in race number 10 will be 4, 8, 7, 3, and 5 in on the bottom. Okay, PL Aussie, a sweep in the last. I can see that. Okay, so let's take a look at the early pick 5. I go really heavy to start these out, but then I back it off pretty good on the end of it there. So we're going to start off using all my numbers. My top pick is going to be Ulysses. Right now he is at 11-1, but I'm going to go 5, 6, 7, and 8. Going to use all my picks in race number 1. Then in race number 2, I'm going to all this race. I do want to be a big star, but I could see just about anybody taking this down. And the reason that I can go so deep in those first 2 legs is now I'm going to single Cadiddle. Maybe she's coming in here with a stale date. Maybe she's not. Maybe Dupert's got a fast mile into her on a schooler or whatever. But I still think that she's the best horse in the race. So I'm going to go Cadiddle with a single in there. In race number 4, I'm going to single Glory View Image. We showed you that replay. Overpowering last week. Comes back to the same class. Race number 5, Waterloo. Just an okay effort in his last, but that was just too tough a bunch. Now he comes back to the class that he was in 2 starts ago, where he come up with a real fast closing second in there. So, I think fairly logical, and it's a $28 ticket where all the artillery's in the first 2 races. So my late pick 5 in this one, that's going to start off in race number 6, and we're going to go, again, deep in the first 2 races using all my picks in race number 6. My top pick being PL Sapphire, but I'll be using J-Port Cash, Castell Lindy, and JG's Pal. In race number 7, staying with all 4 of my picks, I'm going to use One Bell, Florida Guy, Annabelle Duhara, and Green Arrow Hanover on the outside coming off the break. I'm going to single Why Wouldn't You? Remember, he was a sweep for all the handicappers. I'm going to single Manoa. I really do like him in here. I think that this is a great drop down to start that win streak going. And in race number 10, I'm going to single PL Aussie. Again, he was a sweep by all the handicappers, so I don't think that I'm going too crazy there for $16. And we got plays of the night as well. Mine's going to start off in race number 1, and that is going to be my beat the favorite, and that is going to be Ulysses, who right now is at 11-1. So he is actually living up to his billing of beat the favorite. Worth a look is going to be Cadiddle. I know she's coming in with a stale date. She's got middle of the gate, and I truly do believe that she's the deepest horse in that race. My all-in is going to be Glory View Image. I really have a tough time thinking that somebody's going to be able to get the best of him in there tonight. And Waples Watch, Green Arrow Hanover, showed you the replay of him, made a break up here, but then went down to the Meadows with a real good effort, now comes back up here, and I think he's sitting in a good spot, Green Arrow Hanover. Glory View Image for Garnet Barnsdale, best bet. I'm with you there, Garnet. Ghislaine Paquette, sometime, somewhere, new team. That's very interesting because that is true in race number 5. Sometime, somewhere has been getting passed around, you know, a little bit in the last, but he will be making his first start here for Robert Fellows tonight. Bob Fellows tonight was in the Brett Lester camp. We're racing very good for Brett Lester. So you're right, Ghislaine. New camp. And Kevin Plaucha will be Green Arrow Hanover. Spot play. I like that one, Kevin, as well. So we're going to go to a quick little break, pay some bills, and then we'll be back to talk to you before race number 1. Stick around. Fireworks night.